JCPenney.
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 At JCPenney,
we also made some big mistakes.
From having the world at its feet with $19.9 billion in annual sales, to facing the writing on the wall at a meager $2.4 billion, the fall of JCPenney is quite meteoric. With their 2,053 stores worldwide dwindling down to just 664, it's a case of too little too late, as stats don't lie.
Today, JCPenney announcing they're closing more than 100 locations nationwide. The closures will displace 5,000 employees across the country.
What happened to JCPenney? And can it turn things around? In this video, we'll explore JCPenney in detail and dig into 6 of the most shocking reasons for its decline. So stick around to the end. That is, if you want to hear some secrets I have cooked up. The JCPenney department store company was one of the largest retail corporations in the United States, with 664 locations throughout 49 states and Puerto Rico. But it wasn't always these handful of stores. They have ruled the retail industry in the 20th century with an amazing number of stores and an incredible percentage of sales and revenue. But why did it go bankrupt and decline like crazy?
JCPenney filing for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
I will talk about the reasons for the decline later in this video. First, let's talk a bit about how it all started. Origin and rise. James Cash Penney, born in Hamilton, Missouri, began his career by working for a local retailer. But life had more in store for James Cash Penney. In 1898, he made a big move to Colorado, seeking a healthier environment. Over in Colorado, he landed a job at the Golden Rule stores owned by Thomas Callahan and Guy Johnson. Now, fast forward to 1902, and that's when Penney decided to take a bold step and open up his very own store in Kemmer, Wyoming. He used his savings and even took a loan to make it all happen. By 1907, he had assumed full ownership of not just one, but all 3 Golden Rule locations, thanks to Callahan and Johnson dissolving their partnership. Company relocation. In 1909, Penney relocated his company headquarters to Salt Lake City, Utah. Why? Well, he wanted easier access to banks and railroads to fuel his growing business. And was it growing? Well, by 1912, Penney already had 34 stores scattered across the Rocky Mountain states. In 1913, the company underwent a major transformation, incorporating itself as the JCPenney Company, with William Henry McManus as a co-founder. Their headquarters even shifted to the bustling streets of New York City in 1914. Rapid rise. By 1917, JCPenney was already making waves, operating 175 stores across 22 states, and they didn't stop there. In 1920, they acquired the Crescent Corset Company, see that 5 times fast, making their first wholly owned subsidiary. Plus, in 1922, they introduced their oldest private brand, Big Mac Work Clothes. JCPenney hit a major milestone in 1924 when it opened their 500th store, and it was right in Hamilton, Missouri, the hometown of James Cash Penney himself. By 1928, their gross business had skyrocketed to $190 million. By 1941, JCPenney had already spread its wings, operating 1,600 stores across all 48 states. It was in 1956 that they began their national advertising journey with none other than Life magazine. Now, let's talk about the 70s, the glory days of JCPenney. They hit their peak with a staggering 2,053 stores. But of course, there were a few bumps along the way. In 1974, recession hit them hard. James Cash Penney died. On February 12, 1971, James Cash Penney passed away at the impressive age of 95. As the years rolled on, JCPenney ventured into Indonesia in the 1990s. They opened flagship stores in various Asian locations, and in 1998, they leaped into the online world by launching their web store. In 2001, JCPenney made some tough decisions, closing down underperforming stores. They also sold their direct marketing insurance unit to Dutch insurer Aegon for a whopping $1.3 billion in cash. JCPenney decline started. In the early 2000s, in 2001, JCPenney made a tough call. they closed down 44 underperforming stores. The winds of change were a-blowing, and they needed to adapt.
The retailer is shutting down 154 stores nationwide.
That same year, they sold their direct marketing insurance unit to Dutch insurer Aegon. A whopping $1.3 billion in cash changed hands. Why, you ask? Well, they needed to refocus on their core business, retail. Fast forward to January 24th, 2011, and JCPenney made a significant move by closing its catalog business. It was a big deal because it had been operating since 1963. But that wasn't all. 7 stores, 2 call center facilities, and a customer decorating facility also got the shutdown notice. In April of 2012, they laid off nearly 13% of their home office staff in Dallas. Alongside that, a call center in Pittsburgh had to shut down. In June, Michael Francis, the company president, left JCPenney after 8 months. The struggles continued, and in July 2012, the company announced another round of layoffs, affecting 350 more workers at its headquarters, downsizing. The year 2015 brought more changes. JCPenney decided to close 39 underperforming stores across the nation and had to lay off 2,250 employees. It was a tough decision, but a necessary one. That same year, the company decided to liquidate its chain of standalone clothing stores known as the Factory Big and Tall Supply Company. In January 2017, the company sold its headquarters campus and the surrounding land in Plano, Texas. But there's a twist. They did a leaseback deal to ensure that they could continue operations there. Pandemic hit. But as we all know, the world took a turn in 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic hit, and JCPenney wasn't spared. On March 15th, 2020, they had to close all of their stores and furlough their employees due to business shutdowns. In May 2020, JCPenney became the 4th major national retailer to file for bankruptcy. Tough times indeed.
JCPenney is the latest major retailer pushed to bankruptcy by the pandemic. The store says it will close some of its 850 locations in the coming week.
It was reported that the company would give substantial bonuses, almost $10 million, to the senior managers, including a hefty $4.5 million to CEO Jill Soltau. But the challenges didn't end there. After 91 years, JCPenney was delisted from the New York Stock Exchange on May 18, 2020, and became listed on OTC Pink. The pandemic continued to affect operations. The company announced temporary store closures due to the global COVID-19 pandemic, with reopening dates that remained uncertain. They were navigating uncharted waters. Bankruptcy. By May 15, 2020, JCPenney had to make a tough call and filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They also announced plans to close an additional 242 stores, blaming the pandemic for their actions. These store closures were a significant part of their strategy. Fast forward to June 17, 2020, JCPenney had reopened approximately 827 stores, but many of the 154 initially scheduled for permanent closure in 2020 were among those reopened. By June 22nd, they had to identify an additional 13 stores that would be permanently closed. On July 7, 2020, the news came that 2 stores in New York City, one at the Manhattan Mall and the Kings Plaza store in Brooklyn, had to close their doors for good. As of December 2020, the company had already closed 175 stores. In a leadership change, Jill Soltau, the CEO of JCPenney, stepped down on December 30th, 2020, leaving many wondering about the company's future. What happened next, and how's it doing in 2023? I'll discuss all of this later in the video. First, let's talk about the reasons for its decline. Reasons for JCPenney's decline. I think it's the most shocking. Reason number 1, ambushed by the e-commerce revolution. The world is changing, and people are ditching their trips to the mall for online shopping in their pajamas. Who saw it coming? Well, apparently it wasn't JCPenney. They just shrugged off the e-commerce trend like it was some sort of fad. Meanwhile, Walmart, their friendly neighborhood competitor, said, "Bring it on, digital age." Walmart got to work building a solid online presence, offering sweet deals and catering to the changing market. they embraced data analytics, making their business super efficient. JCPenney, on the other hand, was still stuck in the past, and let's be real, even their mannequins looked out of date. Second reason, lost its sense of identity. One glaring reason behind JCPenney's fall was its identity crisis. The retail giant wanted to be everything to everyone. It attempted to cater to its traditional female, middle American customer base, while also trying to allure a younger generation. It wanted to excel in selling clothes and appliances simultaneously. It even ventured into offering workout classes in some stores. In essence, JCPenney lost sight of who it was and who it should target. When you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. In the last decade, JCPenney's targeted audience remained a moving target, leaving customers bewildered and unsatisfied. Third reason, the pandemic piled on. While JCPenney was already drowning in financial troubles and trying to keep up with the competition, 2020 added insult to injury. The pandemic turned their life vest into a leaky canoe. Oh boy. COVID-19 hit them hard. Stores had to close, and that disrupted their supply chain. People even got more comfortable shopping online, leaving JCPenney gasping for breath. Financial issues, sinking sales, mounting debts, the perfect recipe for retail disaster. Fourth reason, rapid untested changes. Now let's talk about Ron Johnson, the CEO who had previously rocked it with Apple and Target. Sounds like a catch, right? He swept into JCPenney with big ideas and even bigger changes. He kissed those coupon clipping days goodbye and introduced a fair and square pricing system. No more sale tags, no more coupon hunting. Sounds good, but sales plummeted. Shoppers looked around and thought, wait, where are my coupons? This isn't the JCPenney I know. Johnson's vision was hazy. He misunderstood what the loyal shoppers loved, hunting for deals and collecting those sweet coupons. While certain strategic decisions by CEO Ron Johnson, like eliminating sales and discounts, made logical sense, they were rolled out without thorough testing and at lightning speed. Customers were caught off guard, and their shopping habits were abruptly disrupted. Slow and gradual changes might have paid off, but the abrupt shift in strategy resulted in a significant loss of customer trust and loyalty. The story's moral: let your customers dictate the pace of change. Rushing can backfire. The fifth reason, no clear niche, no lifeline. It's a harsh reality, but not every business has a reason to keep going, no matter how long they've been around. The retail world is cutthroat, with everyone fighting for a slice of the spending pie. The successful ones know what they're about and can quickly adapt. JCPenney didn't have the financial muscle to pull off such a transformation. Lenders were not exactly lining up to help them, and it became clear that they were struggling to find their place in the retail jungle. Sometimes, you've got to recognize when it's time to gracefully bow out, even if you've been a household name for quite some time. Sorry, JCPenney, you had your day in the sun, but the world of retail has moved on. The sixth reason, what works for one doesn't work for all. JCPenney thought they'd sprinkle some Apple magic into their business. You know, a little razzle-dazzle with a name change to JCP and a sleek new logo. They wanted to be cool and hip, so they started to revamp their stores to attract the younger crowd. Sephora even moved in to set up shop in JCPenney's aisles, but there was a tiny glitch in their grand plan. They forgot about the OG customers, the middle-class moms hunting for bargains. You know, the ones who've been loyal to them for ages. These shoppers entered the new JCPenney and thought, whoa, where am I? It doesn't feel like my cozy deal-hunting haven. The new look alienated the faithful and the young ones. Well, they weren't exactly lining up either. JCPenney's recent progress and financial outlook. Recently, in April 2022, something big has been a-brewing. The owners of JCPenney, Simon and Brookfield, made a whopping $8.6 billion offer to purchase Kohl's. It wasn't just your ordinary business move. It had a Sephora twist. You see, Sephora had already announced its exclusive plans with Kohl's, set to roll out by 2023. In some Kohl's stores, they had even launched the Sephora Inside Kohl's experience. But the twist here was that with this deal, Sephora would remain in the comforting arms of the Simon & Brookfield retail portfolio, effectively scrapping their previous plans to bid farewell to JCPenney in favor of Kohl's. Talk about a retail tug-of-war. By July 2023, JCPenney had reclaimed their turf, returning to its Plano, Texas headquarters. This revolutionized headquarters was buzzing with life, housing over 2,000 workers across the 3 floors. The Phoenix had risen from the ashes, and it was ready to take on the retail world once again. Now, in the financial department, they're making waves too. But that's a story for another day. That's enough for today's video. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and let's keep in touch by subscribing. See ya!